Today's episode of the Know Your Gear podcast is brought to you by Patreon members, channel members, and viewers who like and subscribe. Thank you for making this possible. The Know Your Gear podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Know Your Gear podcast, episode 377. Hope you guys had a fantastic week. I had a very good week. It was since I've talked to you last, a lot happened. It was like I feel like a month has gone by, and I'm not exaggerating. It was pretty crazy. Okay, so a couple things. Just want to say we're definitely still doing the contest for the Nichols 1966 Sting electro pedals. We've given away 8 of those, which is over $1,600 worth of pedals for the contest. A great viewer who I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name. They didn't. Sometimes I have to look in your things. Like, go ahead and say it. And gave a great suggestion. If I can say the name, I'll say it next week and give them credit. They came up with the idea to call the contest the Show Your Gear contest, I guess, and that's what we'll just call it. Why not? That sounds fun. So the Show Your Gear contest. We'll be picking 2 winners today. We have a lot of subjects to talk about. A lot of questions you guys already have loaded in. And also something else. What else going on? There was 2 other things I got to tell you. We're going to be doing Guitar of the Week a little bit different today. So that's probably the most important thing. So expect maybe some technical difficulties. It's pretty more extreme trying to do something different. And this guitar, I think, is because it has a fantastic story. The other thing that's important to mention, and I'm sure it's going to come up a lot during the show, is that in this corner right here, somewhere, right, damn it, right there, that is you guys. So you guys are sending us these beautiful pictures of you guys with your shirts, with your merch, making up graphics, making up stuff. And I thought, let's show them from time to time. So we're going to show them. These are people who have sent the entries. If you don't see your entry, you might miss it. So don't worry about that. And also, if you don't see it, and maybe we didn't load it in. It's just we try to load in as many as we could. So check out the cool viewers in the corner of the screen. And I'm sure halfway through the show, someone will be like, what is that? So we'll just keep them apprised. Okay, let's get into subjects. Let's get into it because we got a lot to cover today. It's gonna be a lot. Today's video is sponsored by Evian Water. Just kidding. I'm using Evian Water today. I feel so fancy and special. So I just thought I'd share that. I actually am excited. I'm not exaggerating. I like Evian Water for some reason. Okay. The first question that came last week, I saw it last week and we didn't catch it in time, so I thought I'd just answer it. This was from Mars. I'm pretty sure it's Mars, M-A-R-Z. Mars says, where did the blue metal Charvel go? Flake metal. It's right there. I put it right there for you. To make sense of this, I guess, the best way to make sense of this is that this is not, I guess this is where I display the guitars, but like I said, I display the guitars for the show, kind of I'm like, oh, I have a YouTube channel, should display the guitars. But that's not where I would, like I said a million times before, if I didn't need a background or think this was a cool background, I wouldn't put these on the wall for the background per se. I have a different way I prefer to do it, and they're in racks in this closet. And that's how I do it. So when you don't see guitars, it's because they're in the racks, so to speak. And that's where they all are. So I guess. Does that make sense to everybody? So I think I should show a picture of that. I just don't have one queued up. I should. That's what I should queued up so I can say, here's the guitar. And if you're curious about this guitar, I do have a video about it. What it is it's a made in Mexico Charvel DK24 that was sent to me by American Musical Supply. I did a video with them. And that was the kind of the deal was I did the videos and then I got to keep the guitar. And I took the guitar and my buddy Brian, who owns Paint Huffer, painted it. I should show it. Should we show it? Because I go to that video if I can show you. So this is not just metal flake. It is 2-tone metal flake. So it looks like it's darker on the edges because it is. So it starts out light and gets darker. And then in the logo, in the angles, you can see the Know Your Gear guys. See? They kind of go away, and then all of a sudden they're like, pow! You can see it perfectly. So in certain lighting, you see the Know Your Gear logo perfectly. And if you flip it to the back, which has no backlight, of course, there's the other Know Your Gear logo, and the same thing. In the flake, it'll disappear, and then it'll pop again in the logo. And so that's dark blue, and then there's dark blue edges and light blue, and beautiful. And then I added a Tessie kill switch in chrome right there where this little mini switch was. I have a volume and tone, 3-way switch with a DiMarzio tone zone in the bridge and DiMarzio P90 shaped humbucker in the neck. And that's what it is. And then that's it. And then I removed the second string tree, which I talk about in the video, because the guitar would not stay in tune, and that's what fixed it on this particular guitar. So that's the guitar. Now that's the guitar of the week. You don't get another guitar. I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's that's it to answer that. Let's get into what was the first question I got. Was it? I feel like I didn't put them in order, so I'll just hit questions. Oh, this was from Michael. This was one of the first questions. It says, "Hey, has Phil done his birthday guitar? I had a birthday. I got a guitar. I have not released the video. It is 99% done. In the middle of making it, decided that it needed more. It needed to be like a deep dive instead of just like, this is my guitar I got. So I turned it into a traditional video, which I wasn't planning for, and added a day. Okay. Mr. G says, "Hey, will a P90 fit in my Les Paul routed for humbuckers?" Well, yes and no. You can put a P90, an actual soap bar P90, in the Les Paul cavity, but you will have to extend the route out. So the answer is yes, it can if you modify it, but no if you don't. But I just showed you there's a P90. You can get one from DiMarzio. You can get one from Seymour Duncan. There's a ton of companies that make a great, Gibson even makes one, but they call it a P94, I believe. Those P90s are perfectly fine. I believe I did a video where I compared them, and I don't even remember I don't remember the results. You make so many videos over the years, after a while, you're like, I don't remember what happened. I kind of remember thinking the real P90 sounded a little better, but just a little. So you can, put a P90 shaped humbucker in there from a ton of companies. So I would do that. Okay. Okay, let's go. There's so many topics you guys were hitting me with. The first major topic was brought up to me. I already saw it in the comments twice, and of course it was emailed to me. Let's go to it. Let me find it on the web for those that didn't hear about it. I thought it was a joke. And I've had different emotional thoughts about it. Okay, so I'm going to give you the shorter version of it. What is it? So Fender is teamed up with Reverb to create the Fender Certified Pre-Owned Used guitars. And so basically, you could come here and buy a certified pre-owned Fender guitar or amplifier. I believe they have amplifiers as well. Interestingly enough, not huge discounts. Typically $2,099, now $1,779. These aren't 30, 40% off, 50% off kind of things. Who's the seller? Let's just grab one. Yeah, Fender. It's the Fender Certified Pre-Owned in Tennessee. Is that all of them? They all the same? So there's a whole article. You can read all about it. I don't want to read the article. This isn't a news channel. This isn't a news podcast. This is just a topical fun. We talk about guitars and gear and the market and industry and repairs. And my thoughts on this is, I could say something rude, so I will. I wish Fender would focus more on making sure their new guitars played as good as new and were as good as new. I've been beating up them pretty hard since COVID. I think their quality assurance has dropped. I know they know that because they've had town hall meetings talking about their crazy 60, 70% fail rates. And I should be fair. I've also since found out that since those days, they've improved the failure rates, and they seem to be on the upswing of improving things. Okay. But I also feel like, I know they're a big corporation. I know it's a big corporation thing, but I feel like, everything's got to be they got to get their hands into every aspect of making money. It's we're going to sell new guitars and t-shirts and Oh, also we're gonna sell guitar lessons. Oh, and also we're making desktop lamps, and also cell phone covers, and but also we now are selling used guitars. It's like, I don't know. I just don't get it. I mean, I get it in the one way you get it, which is money. As someone who's a fan of some of the certified pre-owned car programs out there, I mean, I don't, I think the idea is the warranty. You get a warranty on a car. I feel like certified pre-owned guitars, whether they're Fender or not, has already been in existence. It's called when quality guitar dealers and vendors buy instruments or trade instruments used and then make sure they're set up and they continue on their life journey, better for it, right? So I feel like this is just them again, kind of like, the lesson program. You guys may not see the lesson program. A lot of people talked about when Fender sold direct, is that directly going against their dealers? And there was some reasons why they went direct. So, it wasn't all just greed. They did have an issue. The issue was that a large portion of female guitar players, a large portion, when surveyed, had never ever been in a physical brick and mortar music store before. Now this is going back to like 2016. So I couldn't tell you what the stats on that are now, but that was a big deal, right? Because you saw Fender, like a lot of companies, saw a growing market, and they were like, we're not part of it because if we, they're not going to the dealer. So selling direct was a great way to go. Okay, well, if you don't buy that way, here's a way you can buy. That's one reason for doing it. So it wasn't all just, trying to go against their dealers. But the lesson programs that Fender sell definitely go against their dealers because most of their dealers will have some kind of lesson program for the most part. The mom and pops. It's another thing that kind of coffin nails out the mom and pops because, here you are, you're selling little Timmy and little Sally guitar lessons, and then they buy a Squire and it comes with 2 months free lessons and doesn't take much for mom and dad to go, well, let's try the free Fender lessons for a couple months and take a break. And then heaven forbid they don't work, and then those kids don't play guitar, and then that store lost a potential guitar player, which is very important, right? It's very hard to play guitar. All of you watching know this. It's there's more people fail at it than succeed at it by almost like a 9-to-1 ratio. So Fender again is just putting their fingers in all the pies, is what it seems like. I want to think, and like I said, and I always try to present both sides, especially when it's not, this isn't like presenting information, like this isn't, I'm presenting facts, I'm just giving you opinions on this. There's a part of me that goes, well, maybe they just want to, make sure that the used market is reliable and good quality, but I don't think so. I think they know that they're competing against the used market, or this isn't even true. This could just be them side hustling their new guitars with blims and going, oh, this guitar is used with a blim. We know that's done constantly in this industry, as you guys know. Hey, this is this is used, but it's really just open box demo, or again, it has a small blim or imperfection, and then they go, oh, it's used. So this could be a great way to get people excited. I'd love to know. In fact, can we do it right now? Let me do this. Okay, if you guys don't mind. Okay, hold on a second. I got to stall while I'm doing this. I'm going to do some abbreviations. Okay. Let me change one thing. Okay. 1 second. We'll have the information. I will tally this up. I'm sure the amazing Amanda and Brian and all the other moderators will help me with this. Okay, there you go. So I wish I don't think the moderators have the ability to do this. So if you're live and you're hanging out, there's now a poll that we can I will end it by the end of the show. Usually there's anywhere between 700 of you guys. Sometimes we max out at 1,000. We'll get some information. And you guys tell me, right? Am I off base? Does this seem like just another cash grab or a weird thing that doesn't have a whole lot of value? Or is this like, no, a lot of you guys are nervous about buying used guitars, and this is going to give you that confidence to buy a used guitar, save some money, and maybe it leads to a purchase that wouldn't exist before. So, this is kind of the the way I want to come at this. Again, like I said, I kind of think I might be biased because I buy used guitars all the time, and I look at them myself, and I can kind of only certify my own guitar. I can look at it and go, yeah, it's a good guitar. I don't really need, and if I'm buying it online, I buy it from a reputable seller, and then, with an ability that if there's a problem, so okay. All right. So yeah, interesting idea, but thank you guys for bringing this up. By the way, I'd have to tell you this, and again, one more time, so many guys sent me things. Did you see the certified pre-owned Fenders? And I thought you were all just jerking me around. I really did. No exaggeration. I thought this was some kind of Gibson Instagram post that was funny, meant to be funny, like certified used, up to 100,000 guitar miles, right? I don't know. This guitar will last 400 gigs. I didn't know. And then I Googled it, and I think a couple of you sent links. I think Landon Bailey also sent a link. And when I got the link, I was like, oh God, this is absolutely just hard for me to process. And then I like I said, that's my thought on it. I don't know. Again, love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Okay, so since we talked Fender, guess what, guys? We have to talk Gibson. This is another thing that came up this week. A couple YouTube channels did a couple videos about this, and of course, those, it went viral, all this viral stuff. And then there was an official article in Guitar World. That's what I'll click to when I link this on the timestamps. If you guys haven't heard, Randall Smith, the founder of Mesa Boogie amps, the head engineer, the owner, so to speak, not only did he sell a few years ago Mesa Boogie to Gibson and stayed on running and designing amps, he is now no longer there. And of course, there was tons of scuttlebutt across the internet. Did they fire him? Did he leave? There's nobody talking. And so, of course, again, you guys were hitting me with that. And I was told, I don't have my phone. I was told, I feel like it was 3 weeks ago. It might have been a month ago, but 3 weeks ago, I received a text from a friend who said Randall is now no longer with Mesa Boogie. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was just that was all the text was. Like, oh, just letting you know, like, hey, did you hear? Kind of thing. And then I didn't hear anything officially from Mesa Boogie or Gibson or anybody. And then, of course, I just heard some, you guys say it, and then some YouTube channels speculating, did they fire him? Did he quit? And why he's gone? Interesting enough, here's a couple things that might help you for those that care. I really kind of feel like this is almost a nothing story because it's not really about gear and it's not really about the industry. It's just more of the Gibson stuff that we keep getting sucked into on the channel. Like I said, my running joke is like, Gibson's like one of those factory signs, 0 days since last incident. It's like Gibson always comes up on the channel in these most negative ways. First of all, from what I understand, Randall Smith hasn't said anything publicly about it. That is my guess. I have been in legal contracts with companies where that's what happens. Like you're both kind of locked down from talking about it. He can't talk about why he left. They can't talk about why he left. And it kind of all just goes out there. And then there's some kind of generic statement, which is what Gibson put out. Gibson's statement is really generic. And especially when you get down to the core of it, where Cesar basically, they quote him as just saying his time with Mesa Boogie and Gibson had ended. And I'm like, holy crap. Right? But what I can tell you is the lack of information usually tells you something. And it tells you that it wasn't all positive, because usually you lead in business, in politics, in marketing, you lead with your best foot, right? You put your best foot forward. You put the most positive spin on anything you can. And when there is no positive spin that you can put out at all, you say nothing. right? That is business 101. So if there was any like, Randall's going to spend time with his grandkids now. And, I had that happen once at a company where this CEO, who's someone who I really, really loved, he all of a sudden announced he was quitting, which was shocked, or he was leaving. And the company and him announced together, side by side, that he was going to spend some time with his grandkids and just take more time out of life. And I thought, oh, that's great. And then 2 weeks later, he was working for our competitor. And I'm like, okay. So same thing. I'm sure they have a non-compete with Randall. I'm sure. What I do know is that there was some issues when they were making the Gibson combo amps and then the John Petrucci combo amp. There was not a lot. I guess there was some friction there I'd heard about and talked to some friends that were in the know about that. I don't know if that's enough to lead to this. But what I can tell you is just getting the vibe out there, the vibe I get from Caesar and Gibson is it's their way or the highway. As you guys know, I'm privileged to information with them in some lawsuits with some people I know. And like I said, I like to say I have friends on both sides because I do. But, let's just say Gibson's aggressive in getting their way. And that is a very consistent story that I can tell you for a fact keeps happening. If it's not Gibson's way, it will be Gibson's way. And I think that's just the way of big business. There's a reason why Disney owns Aliens, Marvel, the Muppets, ESPN. I think we're going to see that, and the problem is now with the market slowdown, you're going to see a lot of companies in despair. And sometimes this is when companies get gobbled up. I understand Mesa Boogie was already gobbled up, but, like I said, you're definitely not going to see the tail wagging the dog, so to speak. I don't know if that makes sense in this, but what I'm trying to say is Gibson's getting their way. So I would assume that whatever Gibson wanted, Randall probably wasn't on board for, and now it's going to be Gibson's way. I don't know. It's interesting. Like everybody always says, get your Mesa Boogies before it's too late. You could say that. I could say get your Marshalls before it's too late too. There's a ton of brands I could say get it before it's too late. I really think there's a lot of changes coming by the year end. Absolutely, for sure. So, I'm predicting a lot of changes before the year end. That at least two major, shocking announcements in the industry is what I kind of foresee coming when it comes to industry companies either closing or changing ownership or a massive change in everything they do, because it seems to be something that's just happening. But that's it. Like I said, I really don't care about the rumor mill of it. If he left on good terms, I'm happy for him. If he didn't, that sucks. But either way, they're both going to be quiet about it. And whatever you hear is probably going to be not true. And if it is true, it was probably against some kind of legal contract. So no one's going to ever be able to tell you for sure, unless you're in the really tightest circles. Because like I said, that's how those contracts go. Yeah. Bill says whatever Gibson wants, Gibson gets. Well, that's what happens when you're a big company. They're the big dog. And let's be honest, I don't know if when Randall sold Mesa Boogie to Gibson, he was 75 years old. I don't think that's old, by the way. But I do think that it's tough on a lot of the people I know in this industry that are in their 70s right now. They don't have successorship. They don't have a lot. There's not a plan for the next step of the company if they, not even pass on. We're not even talking about pass on. They still have, in 10 years, they can retire at 85. Retire at 85. And then who's going to take it over? So a lot of companies have nothing but the sale. Obviously, Mike Soldano sold Soldano. A lot of companies sell off their companies. It's just how it goes. So it's Mesa Boogie. That's why I said it's hard for me to dig into this as a drama thing. You could say, I keep seeing Gibson's going to ruin Mesa Boogie. I'm like, I don't think Mesa Boogie had a shot if somebody didn't buy them, because I don't think there's anybody internally to take over the company. Not that I know of. I don't know. I haven't heard anything that would make me think that. Gary says, I read somewhere online, Randall was fired. I hear over and over again, Randall was fired. Again, at that level and that kind of situation, you have to understand the word would not be fired. It's just they have a contract with him, and they probably have the right to, this is the end of your contract. That at that level, it's never going to be like Caesar doesn't walk in there one day and go, get the hell out of here, you're fired. I mean, he could, but it's not necessary. It just says, no, we've reached the end of your contract. because they can say it's over and then go. We saw the thing with James Curley. James Curley all of a sudden isn't CEO anymore one day. He's like, oh, he's not here. And everybody's like, oh, it was probably the end of his contract. I'm like, We've now all heard since then that wasn't really the case. So James Curley is going to probably, like Randall Smith, he's just going to go out in the ether of the universe and we'll never see them again for a while. Unless, of course, Randall starts up a new company, which will be tough, I'm sure, I can't imagine, as litigious as Gibson is, there's anything he can do with and not get see, Paul says Randall Smith could go to boutique amps and like Soldano did and license designs. Well, Soldano didn't license him. Just want to be clear. Soldano didn't license him. He sold Soldano. He doesn't own Soldano anymore. So yes, like Friedman is a license. I just want to make sure we're all clear. So Friedman is licensed designs, but like Egnator and Soldano were actually sold out. Tone King sold out to boutique amp who owns them. But yeah, you're right. He could go. I don't know. My guess, and Paul, I kind of get when I see your comments that you're kind of savvy guy and you know what you're talking about too. So maybe we'll see this point too. I would guess if I was Randall Smith, I wouldn't poke the dragon that's called Gibson and then go out there and do anything. Me personally, it just wouldn't be worth it. It's not like Gibson's going to let him float out there and do anything he wants without making him, legal problems, making him just insane. So, yeah, it's okay. So we talked about it. Those are the two things you guys wanted to talk about it. It's big companies being big companies. Takes the fun out of what we do, except for the gossip side. So let's have some fun for a second and do a winner. So we're going to do a winner. I'm going to a guitar winner of the week. So as you guys know, you send in a picture. As you can see, you're looking at pictures to the screen. I don't know what the hell you're looking at. Like, is that the left side of your screen or right side? Because remember, I'm looking at a totally different image. But anyways, in the corners of the screen, hey, there's Declan. You can see pictures people are sending to us, and we're picking winners based on just, I don't know, how we feel that day or the moment. Sometimes you guys are winning just because you caught us. The email comes in, I open my phone, and I just start chuckling or something. I like it. Today's winner, I had to do it. I don't know why, it just made me wanted me to do it. So guess what? Chris, you'll know what Chris is in a second. Chris, you just won a $200 Dan Electro pedal. Chris sent this picture in. I love it. I mean, obviously, I'm a massive, huge Predator fan. Massive is understatement. I mean, I'm not as big of a Predator fan as you are, apparently. But Chris did exactly what we talked about. He made his own shirt. As we said, we were okay with that. So he probably did this like on a Cricut machine or something. I don't know. But he obviously silkscreened it. Looked beautiful. Looks nice. Came out great. I love the green guitar. That's obviously great. So I just like the shirt, as you know. I just thought it was cool. I like the Predator guys. I like that you just made it clean. I like that you have not only the mask, but I also like the Predator logo on your guitar. Lets me know you're a Predator fan. We had to give you a best category. I decided that your category would be best impersonation of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I hope you find that funny. My wife didn't get it. I, of course, was rolling in my stupid dad joke-ness of that comment. So, and I feel like I don't want to leave anybody hanging on this. Hopefully a few of you chuckled. The rest of you are scratching your head. Originally in the first Predator, whether you know it or not, Jean-Claude Van Damme was the Predator, and he was running around in a little rubber, stupid-looking suit. And thankfully, somewhere during the production of the movie, they let him go. You know what it was? They didn't let him go. They didn't fire Jean-Claude Van Damme. What happened was his time with the Predator movie had ended. And then they brought in the I don't know the name. I'm sorry. I'm a fan, but I don't remember the person who is in the costume, but they brought in a new Predator and redesigned the costume and everything and made it better and made the movie amazing. So I just thought that was funny. So there you go. Chris, congratulations. There's some fun. That's some great stuff. He's going to get a great pedal. I'm going to demo that pedal a little bit later today on the show. Let me go to, oh, you know what? I need to pay attention because Amanda's always hustling, working these questions to me to the right, and I don't look at the screen enough. I'm looking at it now, Amanda. Nellie says, hey, I have an Epi phone M4 Explorer with a Duncan 59 and JB set of pickups in it. Tempted to install some StewMac overwound pickups in it and use the Duncans in something else. Bad idea. I have played the StewMac Overwhelm pickups many times. I like them. They're good pickups. I don't know if I would prefer them. You got to understand the JB is an Overwhelm pickup, so I don't know if, I'm really cautious. So, it's not a good or bad thing. This isn't like one pickup's good and one pickup's bad. This is there enough of a difference to justify you getting the expense, and then what would you hear? My guess is maybe you would hear the a little bit more aggressive neck pickup, because the Overwound will be a little bit more aggressive than the 59 Duncan, but the JB is probably more aggressive sounding, like kicking the amp, getting a little bit more distortion, a little bit drive. I don't know if you would notice anything that would be significant to justify pricing. So it's up to you. But it's not a night and day thing. And also in this question, there's a part missing in your question, which is like specifically what you don't like about the 59 and JB, and that would help me kind of hone in what it is that you're thinking. Sometimes I get the logic. A lot of people are like, hey, if I get a pickup with more winding, it'll be more aggressive, a hotter pickup, and then I'll like the sound better. That's not always how it works, right? More winds sometimes is more highs, more lows, more clarity, less clarity. There's things going on. But I don't know. I mean, I personally, I wouldn't do it for myself. And I have the StewMac Overwhelm pickups, and I like them. But it's not that I would say the same thing. I'm going to put it this way. This will help you, Nilla, hopefully. If you told me that your guitar had the StewMac Overwhelm pickups in it and you're going to put the JB59, I would say the exact same thing. I don't know if you're going to notice so much of a difference that it's going to really pay the dividend, that you're going to, like, all of a sudden, wow, this has come to life. Just my 2 cents, but you can always try it. It's not really expensive, right? It's probably $150 for a set of pickups to $200. So not cheap, but not, break the bank. Or you could bake the bank. I don't know. Chris, thank you, Amanda, sent me this too. Chris says, hey, Phil, can you explain how to use a volume and master volume controls? And why is there two volume controls? Doesn't seem to make sense. In what? A guitar or an amp? He says he's a fan since the first episode. A volume and a master volume controls. So let me talk about... I'm going to go with guitar, if you don't mind. You might be talking about amps. Obviously, if you're talking about amps, the master volume is the thing that's going to control the volume. And the other volume is going to essentially control what we now call gain. So modern amps will just call it gain and volume and keep it, make it easy. But older amps will just call it volume and master volume. On a guitar, especially like a guitar like a Gretsch that might have two volumes and then a master volume, it's so that basically... why that's important is sometimes, you want to turn your volume down to clean up the amp. And it's really nice if you can take one pickup volume and maybe turn the neck volume down, right? And it's like, let's say you find the sweet spot. So this is the best way, Chris, to think about it. Let's say on your neck pickup, you turn the volume back and you find the sweet spot on the amp where it cleans up and it just sounds really great. Okay. And then, you switch to your bridge and it's full blast and it sounds really great and you're happy and you're like, okay. But a master volume is nice because what happens if during the song your guitar is making a little noise, the singer's talking a little too much, and the audience can hear your guitar rumbling or something happening. You can turn your master volume off and not have to worry about where you set your other volumes and your sweet spots. So that's the main thing. That's the main reason why you would have a master volume and then volumes. It's just give you more control. If in that situation, if you are like, I don't have that situation, then there's no. That's probably why you're like, why is that? Because you probably never had that problem on stage. You could just use a volume pedal or a kill switch. So, okay. Scott, this is also from Amanda. Scott says, I have a Squier Classic Vibe 60s that the volume pot cuts out halfway then back when turned all the way up. Used deoxit, but no help. I ordered a new CTS pot, but shaft is bigger. Yes. Okay, so this is what you want to do, Scott. First of all, I'm glad you bought the new CTS pot because I was going to tell you, just buy the new pot. Okay. You can go anywhere for this. I'm going to go to Amazon, if you don't mind, just because it's probably going to be, I can find probably the cheapest thing. Let's do that. Give me a second. I'm having the... There. Okay. Oh, here's one. This will be more than enough. This one right here, buddy. So let me go to the website. Okay. So this is what you need. Essentially just a reamer. This one's $5.97. It looks like it's free shipping. This is what you want. I have tons of videos. I'll link a video to absolutely show you how to use this. It's very straightforward, but I do have a video showing you how to use this. I will link it when I timestamp it. When I did Dobie Doss's guitar, I used a reamer to show you that. It was one of the videos where I referenced that. A reamer is what you want for that. You want to change the shaft from 9mm hole to like a 10mm hole or something like that. It's not a big deal. It's super easy. This is a tool one of those tools where if you buy a cheap one, they last forever too. This $6 tool, if somebody says, oh, it's a junk tool, I'm going to tell you right now, this tool will last 20 years, no problem, for as much as you use it. It'll work on wood. It'll work on metal. Of course, you'll make it go dull fast. Plastic. It'll pay dividends. Once you have a reamer, I mean, it's everything. In fact, I caution people constantly not to use drills. Don't use drills. There's always people online using drills. I'm like, don't use a drill. Use a reamer. Okay. It works it's way safer, way better. Safer meaning for the instrument. I mean, obviously for you too, but yeah, that's what you want, buddy. You just want a reamer, and I put in the new potentiometer and it solves your problem. Why the old potentiometer was going bad, I'm sure we could discover if with the information, if I looked at it, but who cares? The new one is going to be great. You're going to have a CTS pot. It's going to last a long time. And, yeah, and then, like Brian says, a really sharp reamer is best. They're all really sharp when you get them first. So yes, like I said, I'm not advocating cheap tools. Like I said, buy once, cry once. But I can tell you right now, it's funny enough, I bought a cheap reamer. I don't know where I got it. It wasn't Harbor Freight or something like that, but I bought it somewhere. If you look at my wall of tools in the videos, it's hanging behind me. And then after seriously 15 years of using it, I bought a really nice one. And so now I have two nice ones hanging up on the wall. I still use the cheap one. It works fine. Oh no, did the balloons. Great. Stupid Apple products. If you guys don't know what that is, Apple's got this thing now where you make hand gestures and your computer puts stupid things. And so balloons is one of them. So look, we did balloons. Okay. I'll have to figure out how to cut that off. I just did. Remember I was telling you guys that a couple weeks ago some of my pictures weren't working and things weren't working. It's because I needed the new Apple update, and now I got the Apple update, and now I get balloons. Yay for me, balloons. Okay. We need to. What we need to do? Let's go to a question. Litface says, nice V logo. Yeah, I put the V logo up. Seems like I'm always putting it up. It's almost like you can tell when the V logo's up. We're going to be talking about Gibson. So I always kind of think it's funny. So I put it up. Update on the V thing. So if you haven't heard, Gibson, I guess, I don't know. I'm probably not going to say it right. They went and appealed the court ruling and that got shut down. So now Gibson's either got to refile the case, starting with the new evidence, they have to start the case, but new things have to be presented to the new jury or whatever, or they have to go to Supreme Court. So long story short, they're still fighting, Dean, and they're still not winning, Dean, yet. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated if anything changes. Joe says, hey, happy Friday. I got a Warwick Streamer active PJ bass. Battery drains after a few days when not plugged in. That's the important part. Nothing obvious from the wiring, but cavity is tight. Thoughts on how to fix it? It's definitely something's grounding out. It's running the cycle of the battery. So you have to figure out why the battery is still in the circuit. Something's up. I'm trying to think of a best way to tell you to troubleshoot that. There's a great way to do it with a multimeter, but I don't know if necessary if you need that. You got to figure out what. I would probably put a multimeter on the terminals for the battery terminals on the base, and then move stuff around and poke around until you're not getting a signal anymore. Let that signal stop. That'd be probably the best way to do it. That's what I would do. Is I'd be trying to figure out when the circuit connects and when it disconnects and what did that, and is it something touching, like you said, tight cavity. My guess is also, because you said it's a tight cavity, it could be they have a shielding paint in there or something, and that's touching something, and that's causing the ground out. So the battery's always on, and that's all you got to do to fix it. You just got to find that problem. So you're on the right path, but that's what you're looking for. You need that terminal to shut off when there's no guitar plugged in. Alex says, "Hey, I've had the urge to downsize my collection." What? Thinning the herd? I hadn't. The hell you say? Thinning the herd is probably the term I see most every day on Reverb and Craigslist. Thinning the herd. So I think Alex wants to thin the herd. He says, "I have an urge to downsize my collection, but I'm seeing this kind of trending with others. There is subtle marketing telling us to sell our guitars." Yes, what's happening is I've talked about this last week. Look, if you want 50 guitars, have 50 guitars. If you want 500 guitars, have 500 guitars. If you want 5 guitars, have 5 guitars. The idea that if you have less guitars, you're a better guitar player is the dumbest thing ever. This is just dumb. I started this channel. I'm just getting preachy, I guess. Know your gear. The know your gear statement. It came from Trey of Fish, and he did an interview. I haven't told this story in so many years. Maybe some of you guys don't know it now. I was watching a rig rundown with the guitar player from Fish, and he was talking about his Mesa Boogie amp. And then he had a 212 cabinet that him and I think he said his roommate built. Okay. And they said, "Oh, is it part of your sound?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, "We just built it because I was broke, and it works and it sounds good, and we've just been using it ever since." And he said, basically, know your gear. He said, "I would rather have this because I know how it sounds and reacts in environments than get a new cabinet and not know what's going on." And all of a sudden, I heard the saying in my head, it's better to know how to use your gear than have good gear. Because he wasn't arguing that it's a great sounding cabinet. What he was arguing was exactly that. It's like, if I'm really good with a cheaper piece of gear, that's better than having a nice piece of gear I don't know how to use. And it really, for me at that time, it spoke to me because it was like your friends that had these modeling systems at the time. They'd have these Eventide programs. I know it's not modeling, but Eventide racks, all this stuff. I couldn't figure that stuff out. To me, it just sounded horrible, but yet I could dial in a Fender or a Marshall, and get a great tone really quickly. And instead of feeling inadequate about what I couldn't do, I was like, no, what's important is that I know how to use what I have. And I used to see that in the store all the time. Somebody going, "I'm selling this, I'm trading this in." And I go, okay. And they go, "Yeah, I don't like it." "Oh, what don't you like about it?" And then through just a short conversation, every time it would be like, "Oh, you don't like it because of this? Did you know it did this?" And they go, "Oh, it does?" And then they play it in and they go, "Oh, I don't want to trade it in now." And I was like, yeah, it's because your first instinct, if something sounds bad, it's the gear's fault, the product's fault. And it's really like you want to know how to use it and utilize it in every way. And I almost kind of realized one day that one of the drawbacks of having money is you solve problems with money, right? So when you're broke and a piece of gear is not working, it's not loud enough, you put it on a chair and you angle it towards your face because you need to hear it. But when you have money and your amp's not loud enough, you just go buy a louder amp. It's like everything is solved with go buy stuff. And so I was like, know your gear. So that's why I predicated the channel on, I don't want to react to gear like, this is the first 5 minutes I have the gear, buy this. I wanted it to be like, this is what I learned to do with it. This is what I don't like about it. This is what I like about it. Maybe to give more insight, spending time with it. But I get the concept of people saying you don't need a lot of gear. You don't need any gear, right? You don't even need a guitar. You don't have to have anything. But I don't understand, and I value those kind of opinions, but what I will tell you is I'm not here to say, hey, buy lots of stuff and you'll be happy. There's absolutely no way that's going to work. But having less stuff isn't going to necessarily make you happy either. What makes you happy is whatever it is that makes you happy. I'll tell you what makes me happy. I play guitar every day. What is important to me is not how many guitars I have, how expensive they are, how nice they are, how good they play. What was important to me is I got to play guitar. So as much as I love my corporate life, I made a decision one day. I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to play guitar more. And if that means I'm going to be holding other people's guitars and working on them and playing guitar, I was like, that's what it is. I'm going to do that. And if that means I'm going to stand in front of a camera, which I absolutely hate cameras, and talk about guitars so I can be around guitars, that's what I decided. I just want to be around guitars and music. So I found a way. There is nothing, there's no piece of gear that I bought that's made me as happy as just figuring out how to be around the gear. And the music. But I also don't go, man, I'm so sad because I have 10 guitars. So I get it. What I experience, so, for me, and everybody's different, from my experience is guilt. I have a lot of guilt all the time. I'm constantly feel guilty. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. My kids are fine. Everybody's got a nice car, everybody's fed, everything's fine. But still, at the end of the day, sometimes I'm like, I look at a guitar I'm not using and I go, we should sell that, put it to better use. I don't know. There's part of me that's just practical that way. But when it comes to selling your gear, sell your gear because if you don't like something and you're not using it, maybe it's time for it to go. But you need to. Trying to say the right thing, and it's tough. I don't know what the right thing is. You need to what? It's not easy to be happy. So I'll tell you right now, I don't know who started that crap for all of us. Not only is it not easy to be happy, I feel like the older you get, the harder it is to be happy. It's a tough thing, man. Sometimes I wake up and it's the best morning I've ever had, and man, bad information comes in the first 15 minutes. And you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? So I just think that if you're getting joy out of playing music, great. If you get joy out of, I have friends, they can play like 3 chords and they're constantly upset because somebody on YouTube's like, you need to learn to play guitar and stop, dorking around the guitar. But they have so much fun. Let them do whatever they want. If you're having fun, that's the key. So, just do, like I said, if you want to work on guitars, work on guitars. If you want to have 50 guitars to stare at, if you just want to hang them in your house and stare at them. I don't care. Whatever it is. And if you feel like you've bought too much stuff, well, then you probably did. And then thinning it down is going to be nice too. I'm pretty easy this way. I have so much room in my house for this stuff. Whether I have a YouTube channel and I can justify having as much as I have or not, it's literally, I'm not overtaking another room. If my stuff doesn't fit in the space I have allotted in the house, then it goes. It's got to go. Funny story, and I think this is a perfect time. This will bleed into Guitar of the Week. I have a Guitar of the Week, and it's. I hope you guys enjoy this Guitar of the Week because it's a crazy story for me. So I want to start with this. I'll do the whole thing for Guitar of the Week in a second. First, I just want to say thank you to somebody who I pinned their information in my notes, and now I can't find it. And it's Andy Murray. Andy Murray. I think that's how. Andy sent a new jingle. Now, I think somebody else sent a jingle. If you sent a jingle for Guitar of the Week and I didn't use it, please send it again to me. We didn't have a way to do it. Now we do. So Andy sent it. It might be the same. Andy might have been sent the first one, and I don't know. But anyways, Andy sent a jingle. He wrote this on his ukulele, so we got a jingle now for Guitar of the Week we're going to use. I'm enjoying it. So we'll do that. But Guitar of the Week is a perfect example of gear acquisitions and stuff. So you guys know a couple weeks ago, I did a Guitar of the Week. I did a orange Parker Dragonfly that I bought from my buddy Warren. And I told you the story that there was 2 made. There was one that was green and one was orange. And I ordered them in the recession. If you don't remember that story, you're going to have to go back to that podcast. But I just basically said these were Parkers in the middle of a recession, and Parker was willing to do some crazy stuff, including custom make these Parkers for me. But there's more to the story, as there always is in a story. So my buddy Pat reached out to me and said, I'm thinning the herd. I'm going to get rid of some guitars. And on the list of guitars that I saw was the green Parker. This obnoxious green Parker that I love. So if you guys remember the orange one, this is the same exact one. It is green. It is also a one-piece mahogany body with a one-piece mahogany neck with a headstock you can actually hang on the wall. It's a carbon A carbon fiber fretboard with carbon fiber on the back of the body, all wrapped on the back of the body. Has a piezo system, and 2 Seymour Duncan pickups. I believe it's a JB and a Jazz is what we spec'd out. Volume, tone control, and of course the volume control for the piezo. So I always loved the green one the most. In fact, for a short time, it was actually technically mine. So it was earmarked for me. This is why the story is funny. Funny meaning interesting, and maybe helps you with gear and understanding gear. So I told you guys a story. I ordered the orange one, I ordered the green one. They came in. And I also mentioned briefly in that story that we ordered 2 mahogany, in other words, you just see the wood, mahogany Parker flies with this headstock. And what happened was my brother-in-law bought the mahogany one. My buddy Warren bought the orange one. I was going to keep the green one. Okay? That was the plan. So the green one. Now, I took the green one home and I decided that I kind of laid claim to it. Okay? And I was like, okay, I'm going to get it. And then what happened was my brother-in-law contacted me and said he wants to sell all his guitars. And I said I would sell them for him. And some of the guitars he bought from me and a lot of the guitars he didn't. And it was in the recession. And so it was very hard to sell his guitars. And he really needed the money. So I did something that, and I only tell you this because my mom was really upset with me for doing it, but I did it anyways. I basically paid him out for all his guitars. And the idea that I knew I'd get the money, I'm like, I'll just pay him for his guitars and then I'll get the money back. Long story short, what I didn't know was in the time he had that Parker fly, he kept it in storage, like in a storage locker. And the fretboard delaminated off the neck. So when I got the guitars from him and I paid him out, I didn't know that the Parker had delaminated. How I found out, I've kind of told the story roughly once, is I sliced my hand on it. I went to play it. It was on this side, actually. I went to play it, and I literally, almost like a long cat scratch, not like dripping blood, but, a little bloody because the carbon fiber board is paper thin. And I fixed it. As I told you, I repaired Parker's. The problem was I couldn't sell it for anything close than what I told him because I got to disclose that. So I sold this one to Pat. This is the one I loved, but this is the one Pat got. And and Pat doesn't know the story. I don't even, so and then what happened was I kept that mahogany one for a long time until I acquired the white Parker that you guys have seen. So one day I got an opportunity to buy the white Parker, which was better than the mahogany one. And then my buddy Warren sold me the orange one. See how this works? But then when Pat mentioned this one's for sale, I'm like, this is the one I got to have. So I did sell the orange one. So it's gone. And Pat didn't want me to buy this one. He wanted to trade. So I traded him a Nags, a beautiful Tier 1 Nags that you guys may have seen on behind the wall. Had a beautiful quilt blue top with a flamed blue neck. And I traded him for this, and he traded me a Marshall Class 5 combo, which I'm actually using today. So I'm using a Marshall Class 5 combo with an SM57. So let's do Guitar of the Week. Let me show you why I love this guitar. Let me talk about it. Some of you guys are gonna hate this color. It is, somebody called it baby puke something. So I'll tell you this. This is the only thing I hate saying, but it's true. The day I opened this guitar out of the case at the store, my wife walked by and she goes, "That's the sexiest guitar I've ever seen." I go, "Oh, I don't know why. Just I got to have this guitar." Okay, so let's do the new jingle. Let's do Guitar of the Week. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to demo it, and then I'm going to talk about it, okay? All right. I hope that makes sense. I got a lot of stuff to do and make sure I don't screw up. Because there's a lot of stuff to screw up here. Okay, let's do the Guitar of the Week jingle, and we'll get into it. Here we go.
Now it's time for Guitar of the Week.
Know your gear ain't just for geeks, so here's the Guitar of the Week.
Okay, so this is the guitar of the week. Let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so basically what I want to do for Guitar of the Week is do more of a demonstration thing of the guitar. So I'm going to show you a couple things I love about the guitar. First of all, it's a gain machine, right? It's got the JB in the bridge. It's a little aggressive. I'm running a Lawrence Petros 87 with a NuX delay into the Marshall Class 5, okay? So that's what you're listening to. But what's really cool about this guitar is I'm going to go ahead and show you the piezo system. Okay, let's go to that for a second. Okay, and so you can hear that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that and loop it. Let's. Okay, so here's the piezo system, and then I'll play on top of it using the Nichols 1966 overdrive with the delay pedal. Here we go. Okay. Bit of a bad note there, but we'll make it work. Okay, so I'm going to use the Nichols and the neck pickup. Here we go. So again, this is what I talked about before, guitars that allow me to do multiple things. Obviously, I can play the acoustic, the piezo, switch it over to the magnetics. Of course, sounds a little better like this. Okay, so let's do this. Go here. Go back to my main cam. So the trick to the guitar of the week is I gotta have the headphones on so I can hear when I'm switching what you guys hear. So I have to put the headphones on. So now I have a jingle that buys me that extra few seconds to go ahead and and do that. A couple things I want to show you, like all Parkers, my fun thing to show you is if you take the strap button, you put your finger right there next to it, it balances on the strap button. Look at that. It is a cool little thing to do. If you think this color is like a 7-Up can, it's actually lime gold. So I think it's gold. I think how they did is gold and they shot lime color over it. So depending on the lighting, it can look really gold or it can look really green. So and I'm really excited that Pat did the trade with me. I think it worked out for both of us. The Nags was definitely worth a lot, and this guitar is worth a lot. So it kind of, yeah, Brian's like, please don't do it. Everyone freaks when you do that. Trust me. I'm like, I get it. But it's kind of nice. And like I said, and this is one of those things, why it's Guitar of the Week. We're talking about guitars. But why does this tie into the last person's question? Well, this is actually a thinning the herd guitar. This is an opportunity for me. So obviously, look, I got rid of the orange one and I have the green one, but because I really like this one, I don't need the white one. So I'm going to be selling the white Parker. So instead of having two guitars that I liked a whole lot, I mean, I really liked them. Now I have that magical guitar, that lifetime guitar. So, and I'll never get rid of it. If I do, I'll definitely I'll call Pat and be like, hey, do you want it? But he gets first right refusal. But that's sometimes that's the magic of thinning the herd, is just try to find a more magic guitar, I guess. I don't know. But I wanted to share the guitar with you and the new thing. I hope you guys like that. I run a drum track. It's just a lot easier for me to play with a click track or something. A lot of times when I'm playing in demos, I have a click track in the room, but you guys don't hear it. And it's really nice for me to have something to... it's probably nice to have something that keeps me on task, I guess I would say. So that's really good. But I also don't want to take away from the amazing jingle that Andy did. Andy, that is hilarious. The fact that it's on a ukulele is great. You guys are all going to love and hate this song. I can already tell because I already have it stuck in my head constantly. And it worked out, Andy, because like I said, that's what I needed. Just an extra 30 seconds to switch over the system in between the podcast and the live demonstration, because that's what I'm doing, just doing a live performance for you guys. So, but yeah, the guitar sounds fantastic. It's really light, as you can imagine. This one's actually almost a pound lighter than the orange one. Isn't that crazy? The orange one was like 6.5 pounds. This one's like 5.5. So works out great. Super, super excited. Super excited. And thinning the herd, which is, you got to thin the herd. It's a thinning the herd. Sometimes I feel like thinning the herd means the guitar industry is going to collapse. Okay, let's do one more giveaway and then we'll get back into questions subjects. And we're moving along here. Okay, the next winner is Lewis. Lewis, first of all, I didn't even know we sold shirts in that color, so that's cool that I found that out by seeing this picture. Lewis, basically, Lewis sent this to me. Wherever he's at, you didn't put where you're at, Lewis, but I guess where he's at, he says that he brought his shirt and his stuff, and I guess it's his family's tradition that the last day where they're at, they leave the clothes and they give them away, right? Maybe to people who are less fortunate, and he said, and then, I'm sure they keep one set of clothes to go back home with. So he's like, this is the last day of him wearing the shirt. I thought, well, that's cool. I didn't know. That's a cool tradition. I never thought about that. But what's really cool is I thought, it's funny because I go, the best category has got to be right? It's got to be the best, taking the definition of the last day to a whole new meaning. In other words, when we call, hole in the sock last day, right? He's like, his whole wardrobe's last day. So he also did say in the thing that he put a note with the clothes that if somebody takes a picture and emails it to him, he'll send that, he'll forward that to us. So that's pretty cool. So somebody's inheriting a Know Your Gear shirt. So very cool. So thank you for that. I thought that was it was really just fun. I liked it, right? So I thought so now you're winning a $200 pedal. See, that's the world going around. So I like I said, thank you guys. You guys are still probably checking out all the cool pictures you guys sending. And we'll be picking lots more. Like I said, we have a lot more stuff. We're going to keep going to the end of the year. Another company has popped up and said, hey, they want to be part of the giveaways. So we're doing really well. We're getting, like I said, we'll have lots of stuff. I think we'll be covered for the rest of the year. Okay. El Duderino wants to know, we're talking about the guitar of the week. How much is that guitar worth? This is why it was hard to sell it. He didn't know. I didn't know. I told you this on the orange one. What are they worth? We don't know. A Parker is a mystery. It's an enigma. Like a lot of guitars like it, there's not a whole lot in the market. I can tell you this, damaged ones are devalued immensely. So if there's a nick or anything, a lot of them have problems. As you can imagine, this one did have an issue. The issue was that the barrel jack in this kept going out really bad and we kept replacing it. And if you don't know, Parker cuts off the end of the barrel jack and adds this other outer piece to it. And it looks really cool. I should grab the white one and show you, but it looks really cool, but it's a pain in the ass. So I actually switched this over to a Switchcraft and put this plate on it. And I did that early on in its life. I think this is better. But that does devalue this one. This one technically is worth a little less than the orange one because the other orange one was not modified in any way. I would guess. So obviously, I don't know what it's worth. I'll tell you what it was worth to me. The guitar I traded him, the Nags, was worth about $4,000. Soft market $35, strong market $4,000. But he traded me this guitar, and I got a $300 Marshall Class 5 combo. So, he was definitely being the kind one in this. I think the guitars are on par with each other for price. I can't imagine this one being worth much more than that in any market. But, we were trying to keep it as fair as possible. And I think he was super kind. He just wanted me to have the guitar. I'll tell you right now. He was just like, he knew I wanted it. He wanted me to have it. I gave him a good reason to give it to me in the trade, and we made it happen. So, but yeah, pricey guitars. And here's why I say it's hard. This guitar, it could sell for $2,000. It could sell for $10,000. Who knows? It's just like all the Parkers. There's few guitars like this in the market where they do that. When the market's hot, they're top dollar, and then as soon as the market slows down, they drop like a rock. So they are definitely not something you want to buy and then try to flip. You buy one because you want one. You sit on it for a while if you want to get your money back out of it. So there. Okay, let's go into some questions. We got a lot, and if I don't get to them, then the whole show crashes. And apparently. Okay, Clyde wants to know, hey Phil, could you tell me how much you think a demo stamp on a Les Paul Custom will hurt the value? It's black 2002 asking $3,000. Demo stamps, used stamps, second stamps like the number 2 and then indie second stamps, things like that. They hurt the guitar's value when it's new. You're not gonna. So in other words, no one can get what they get new for them. But used, I find they almost have no real factor in them. They hurt more in the presentation on reverb of it. It's marked second. But when people pick them up, there's no issues. A lot of times the second, the demo, the what do you call it? The used stamp that's on them is really just because there's a cosmetic thing, and then once the guitar is used, it's got lots of cosmetic things. It does hurt the value. Obviously, it's never going to be the same as a guitar without that, but it's not a massive hurt on it. In my experiences with it, selling them and buying them, when buying one, as long as they're not, I like I said, if I saw 2 Les Paul Customs in black, and one said demo and one didn't, as long as the demo was less than the other one, I wouldn't see anything. But if they were asking the same price, I would definitely not buy the demo. Like if $3,000 for the demo is fair, as long as they're asking like 34 or something, 35 for the regular ones, then yeah, save a few $100 and get the demo stamp. Who cares? But I wouldn't pay the same price because it is not the same value because it does have that stamp. David says, hey Phil, new gig bag day. That's a new one, man. You're excited about a gig bag. Oh, I got a mono. That's because your gig bag costs as much as a guitar. That's why you're excited about it. Vertigo Ultra, it's expensive. Yes, it is. But I don't regret it. Possibly the only gig bag you'll ever need. I had a bunch of mono gig bags. So you guys know, the guys who own Heritage own mono now. Very cool guys. And I had a couple mono gig bags. I loved them. I used to take them everywhere. I stopped taking them because I don't know what different mono gig bags they have, but the one I had a pouch that you Velcroed onto it. And I just like the gig bags I have now because they're more compact and they are just as strong. But mono's great. I mean, it's fantastic quality. But yeah, they're expensive. Expensive gig bags. Lorenzo Dude, 1966. Hey, I like the Nichols pedal. Says fun, I think $signs. Fun money. Oh, fun money. What would you spend $300 on? I have plenty of strings and tuners. I like OD and wah pedals. I'd buy a pedal. I don't own very many pedals anymore. Like I said, I find pedals I like here and there, and I just kind of, I gravitate towards them. If I had $300 right now, what would I buy? Trying to think of anything cool I've seen lately. Yeah, you know what? I mean, I have one. If you don't have one, I really like the HX Stomp pedal that I reviewed. I really love that pedal. That's a really great pedal. I would highly recommend that. I have no idea what this is. Seymour Duncan on these. Something. Your sign-on's so long, it won't give me the whole sign-on. It says, how much does buying the occasional cable or t-shirt really help your local store? Can't always justify a new big purchase, but will try and grab a t-shirt or something in a few months. How much does it help? Well, it helps because it adds up and the margins are higher. So, I mean, will it save them? No. What I can tell you is this. We made more money off Snark's tuners than we did off Paul Reed Smith guitars in our store. So we could sell $70,000 and Paul Reed Smith guitars, but the take-home investment was more. We made more off Snarks. So accessories can be a big deal to a store. I mean, stores like us, we had a lesson academy, so accessories were just moving constantly. So, I mean, accessories were huge for us. So, I mean, it can help. I mean, anything helps. If you want to support a business, every dollar helps because, I mean, obviously it goes to their account, but more importantly, accessories have higher margins. So, where a guitar, I mean, great. If you buy a mid-price guitar, they can make $200, $300, $400. That's great. But you buy a $50 cable, they can make $20, and that's pretty good. Sometimes those accessories are 3 times. So they buy a cable for 10, you buy it for 30. That's really nice. So yeah, you can do that. I mean, I can tell you right now, they're all losing accessory sales because of the fact that Amazon and everybody else is so cheap online. Amazon controls about 25% of the accessory market for the musical instrument industry right now. It's tough. I mean, I get it. Anybody who's done it knows what I'm talking about. You buy an HDMI cable for like $13 on Amazon and you go into Best Buy and it's $40. You're like, that's a tough one to swing. So, but it helps. Grumpy My Guitar says, I had to replace my whole septic system. I've done something like that. No new guitars for me for a while. Worse, my backyard is destroyed. Feeling sad. I wish I had uplifting advice. I can tell you 2 things. I have not had to replace the septic system, but I had to replace the drain pipe that left my house. So basically where all my plumbing went out of my house into the street, a tree root, the roots of a tree went in and got it and broke it. And it was 3 feet shallow of being the city's problem. So it was my problem. And because it was 3 feet shallow of the city's problem, your pipe goes at an angle. In Arizona, I'm sure it's this way everywhere, but in Arizona, the ground's really hard. They charge, by the foot. You go down. So it was like, the first quote we got was $9,000 to fix the pipe. And then we got it down to 6, I think. And I finally think we got it down to $5,000 to fix this. So I remember it like it guts you emotionally. It's tough, man. It's tough. We call it adulting, my wife and I. That's the adulting, right? We had to buy new air conditioning units. That's adulting. It sucks. I can tell you what I do in those situations every time. Man, I always treat myself to something. I don't care what it is. If it's a new tool or a new pedal or something, I get it because, man, it kind of cuts your budget up. But I always just buy myself a little something or use that time because you're not buying something, spend more time playing guitar. I do probably both of those. But yeah, I feel for you, man. It sucks. So I appreciate you supporting the channel, though. That's crazy that you're having a bad weekend supporting the channel. So Ray says oh, I know what he's saying. Ray wants to know if inventory loss was a big part in my store's business. Yeah, of course. So inventory loss is shrinkage when people steal things and break things. Absolutely. Tons of it. We had a teacher that was stealing we think now thousands of dollars worth of stuff and stealing it in the weirdest way. Not like in the way you think, like he's putting it in his pockets and running out. He would he'd forget stuff. It took us forever to figure this out because we didn't know what was going on. He would forget to bring his capo or his tuner or his cable or anything to his room. So every couple, because he taught a couple times a week. And remember, this went on for a while before we figured out. He would just walk over, grab a capo, grab a thing, like brand new in our store, and just take it in the room. We found it one day. One day we found a ton of packages. He was shoving them behind the amp, our amp's on a pedestal, and he was shoving all the packaging in this pedestal. And some of the tuners were there, some of the cables there, but of course some were missing because there's more packages and stuff. And it was like thousands of dollars over time, when we started figuring it out. It happens. Look, if you want to know about retail, if you want to know about businesses, this is all you got to know. For 12 years, my wife kept packages of toilet paper in the trunk of her car. And every time somebody would say, "Oh, you need toilet paper in the restroom at the store," my wife would go out to the parking lot, get rolls of toilet paper, and then restock the restroom. And that's because people stole our toilet paper. Like constantly. Customers, employees, they just did. It was crazy, and you think no big deal, but I mean, like I said, that stuff starts adding up. You figure it out one day when you're like, you don't realize it until you get like you have your QuickBooks or something, and all of a sudden you're like, $4,000 a year in toilet paper. Like, we don't even really have a public restroom. What's going on here? What's going on, right? And then you start noticing stuff. So yeah, it happens, man. Shrinkage is part of it. That's why you do what you can to mitigate it. You try to we catch people. It's just part of it. When I say it's just part of it, I'm not accepting of it. It's just, I don't know what to tell you. It just sucks. It sucks. It's what why I tell you the toilet paper stories is to tell you that just to let you know, that's what the importance is that what they would steal would make no sense. They'd steal anything. People who steal will steal anything, whether it's valuable or not. So they steal it. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right, I'm pulling up more stuff. Okay, this is from Steve. Steve says, "Hey, Phil, I got a Les Paul Studio. Nut slots cut way too deep. That's the worst. I bought a tusk nut, sanded the bottom to make it the same height as the old nut, and lowered the bridge to make action lower. Should I sand more off the nut or deepen the nut slots or both?" On a Gibson style guitar, you don't want the nut slots to be deep, as you've noticed. You want them to be as tight and as possible and shallow as possible. So I would say not to deepen the nut slots. That would be my suggestion. The more you deepen those, the more it's going to be important for the G and the D string, especially, to be lubricated, and they can bind up in there. So you want to keep it as shallow as possible. But it sounds like you're on the right way. But yeah, that's what you want to do. Mr. S says, "Keep playing. I was digging that. Thank you so much." Then he also asked, what gig bags do you use, Uncle Phil? So as you guys know, I did a video 4 or 5 years ago about how I use the Yngwie Malmsteen gig bags that I bought from Fender. I no longer have those. I got rid of all. I kept 2 for the nostalgia factor, sold off a bunch on Reverb, gave a couple away. I only use Kiesel gig bags. I got a couple Kiesels. They had the guitars obviously come in those gig bags. I just got addicted to the quality of them. But more importantly, I have them. So when I was at the Kiesel event, I got a bass gig bag, and then I think I bought one Kiesel gig bag. I just like them. They're hard foam. They're really good quality. So that's what I use. I probably have a few other gig bags, like I have a Gibson gig bag and a couple others, but I try to phase them all out. I just go with the Kiesel gig bags. I just like and then Shauna makes mine cool because she puts my logos on them. So mine say Kiesel, but they also say Know Your Gear on them. And that's what I use. It's an expense thing. I already had them. So, because they came with the guitars. So I just like the quality of them. And that's what I actually transport guitars in on airplanes, is the Kiesel gig bags. Okay. Can I do this? Let's see. All right. This I just want to do this real quick. That's not the end of the show, but we'll do it now anyways. Let's do it. Let's do it now. So I asked the question, is Fender certified? Is Fender Certified Used a good idea? 62% of you said no. 38% of you said yes. So that's actually not the landslide I was thinking it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like 80-20, something like that. So 38%. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, almost 40% say yes. So obviously the majority says it's not a good idea. Okay. But that's still a good percentage. So maybe Fender knows something we don't know. I'm going to go throw my vote in with the no category because I don't need Fender to tell me if something's good or not certified. But I don't know. I think my problem is I like the idea if there was no charge for it. What a great feature. What a great service. But obviously with their prices, you can tell that they're jacking the price up because they're saying it's certified used. I just don't need anything else that makes things more expensive right now. I've had it. Like I said, I had enough of every company trying to figure out how they can get their piece. It seems like everywhere I go, some companies figured out why they should get their pinch of something. And so that's where I'm going to stand with on the Fender thing. But 62% says it's a bad idea. 38% said good idea. Let's close the poll. Thank you guys so much for throwing your votes in. It's pretty cool. So let me go ahead and grab that. 713 votes. Very nice. Can't even get 713 likes. It's fun. It's funny. It's funny. Landon says, good idea for whom? I don't know. Right, Landon? I don't know, man. I think there's a small group of people, which are obviously in that 38%, like I said, that are like, it would probably make them feel more confident about buying a used guitar and then saving a little bit money over new. Other than that, I feel like it's just a company sticking their nose in things to make money off something and make something more expensive. So, I mean, think about this. I should have said this too, and I apologize if I didn't. I was looking at the certified used prices. I can find all those guitars cheaper than those new right now, without a doubt. Any one of those certified used right now in this market, I can find the new version that's not certified used, that's new, for less. So, okay, let's Self-Buttering Toast says, I think Fender Certified is going to drive prices down on other used Fenders. It's possible. It's a really interesting way of looking at that. I could be. I will give you that. I will say that's definitely possible. You have that's a good insight on that. My thought though is that is likely, but it's also likely that they don't sell crap of these, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I hope you're right. That'd be nice. But right now everything's super cheap because the market's slow. D-Max says, hey Phil, are rolled fret edges more or less susceptible to fret sprout? That doesn't matter. It doesn't affect it in what creates fret sprout. Fret sprout is just the fretboard shrinks. Whether the edge is rolled or not wouldn't inhibit that or make it happen or not make it happen. Would it be more noticeable because it's rolled? It could be, but I've never experienced to go, wow, it's this. I wouldn't have noticed this if it wasn't fretboard or the fretboard wasn't rolled. To me, it's about the same. So. Voodoo Guitar says, and by the way, these are all from Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. Voodoo Guitar says, I'm thinking about buying a Music Nomad safe zone file. I saw a YouTube video that said it leaves too wide of a crown. How wide of a crown on the fret is too wide? It doesn't. It's fine. There is some StewMac files that are more finite. Obviously, look, the smaller the crown, the better the intonation, the better the performance of the fret because it's less friction. This is one of those things where it's like, that statement is as accurate as it is inaccurate. So I could say, yes, absolutely. Look, the Music Nomad Safe Zone file, there's 3 things I could say about it that are bad, 3 things good. I think I talked about this in the video. I think StewMac files are better quality. I think they are. They just feel better quality. They're smoother. They look better. StewMac's warranty is much better than Music Nomad. So again, we have superior quality, superior warranty, right? And then we'll go to performance. Superior performance. Like I said, if I wanted that fret rounded off perfectly, as tight as I can get it, as narrow as I can get it, I think some of the fret files at StewMac is what I use, and they're great. The Music Nomad Safe Zone file, though, is dummy proof. So of course it can't be all things. It can't be dummy proof and have the most narrow top end crown and have the best warranty. I mean, it just wouldn't make sense. So the Music Nomad Safe Zone file is great because if you're concerned, look, fret filing is where a lot of people that's where you're gonna spend money if you screw it up. I always love guitar techs. Look, I'm sure if you're a lawyer or you're a cop or whatever you are, every profession is the same. Guitar techs, I find in the comment sections of videos kind of sometimes funny. When they see you doing something and that they lose money on, they're like, "Oh, well, go ahead and do it. I'll charge you more if I see you do that." And I'm like, "Oh, well, good. That's a great attitude." But also, same thing. They're like, they always want to tell you how they're going to charge you more, right? So that's my whole point. They're like, "Yeah, use this file. It's the best file. This, the more finite file." But yeah, if you mess it up, they also are the ones that are going to tell you they're going to charge more if you screw it up. So the Music Nomad Safe Zone file does not screw it up. I really think the Music Nomad Safe Zone file is one of the few products, very few products, that Music Nomad has done that I think everyone is jealous of. I think everybody at StewMac, look, I'm not talking like I talked to them, they told me this, but I'm sure everyone did oh man, should have made that. Makes total sense. Just makes total sense. Now that they made it, somebody's going to copy it. And soon we won't be talking about it. It's, copyrighted, trademarked, I don't care what they have on it, patented. Somebody's going to have a version of it soon enough. But I like to have the fret is, again, the crown is as tight and as narrow as possible towards the top. But I've used the Music Nomad Safe Zone file on a ton of guitars. And I would question anybody to play two guitars with the best StewMac file and that file and tell me something's off. They're going to tell me if they know, but I mean, if I hand them the two guitars, unless they pulled out, like what I do is my magnifying glass with a light and looked at the frets and start analyzing frets. But that's not how you tell. You tell by playing it. You're not going to tell when you're playing it. So the amount of players that I've met in my life that can hear how well a fret has been crown's effect on the intonation is on one hand. And so that's like 5 people, right? Out of those 5 people, 3 of them have Grammys. So unless you're hanging out with a lot of people who have Grammys and crazy ears, I haven't found anybody who can really tell when it kind of stuff. So Voodoo, I don't know. I wouldn't worry about it. If you want to get the Music Nomad Safe Zone file, do it. Keep in mind, like I said, I'm not sponsored by those guys at all. I have no. This is one of those things. Like I know it's hard to tell what to trust on the internet. I'm not telling you to trust me. I'm just telling you what my bias is. Music Nomad and I do not work together in any way, shape, or form or capacity. And not only do I work with StewMac more, StewMac has an affiliate link for me that pays me. As you guys know, you do the StewMac programs with me, and it pays the channel. Highlighting a Music Nomad tool costs money. Costs money. It's money I'm not making if I would have told you to get the StewMac tool. So, but my logic is I would rather do the right thing and have the channel prosper and have my integrity up front and sell you that. That is the information. I want you to have the information more so than I'm not in the business of selling the tools. But in that one case, that Music Nomad Safe file, you guys keep asking me to check out other Music Nomad tools. I can tell you right now, most of them I don't like them. So I try to do the videos, but then I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this video. It's just me saying I don't like this tool. I think there's other better tools on the market. But Music Nomad, it's got a few tools, man, that just kick ass. Mingjo101 says, "Hey Phil, I just got an EMG set. Any tips or tricks on how to put the battery in a Strat without routing?" I mean, here's the tough part, man. sometimes the issue is this. It'll fit underneath the potentiometers. It's the blade switch that's the problem. The odds you fitting it in between the blade switch and the cavity underneath those potentiometers, you got a small chance. I've seen it done. You can do it depending on how deep they did the cavity route. But there is probably a solution. I would seriously look at the Fishman batteries that go on the they make a back cover for your tremolo cover, and the cover itself is the battery. There can't be anything that, like I said, they could have a proprietary coupling link or something for the Fishman, but essentially Fishmans run on 9-volt batteries just like the EMGs. I would imagine you can use the Fishman and adapt that. That's the way I would suggest it to you, is do that in today's day and age. What is that? Is it expensive? It's got to be expensive. Let's look at it. Let's take a look. Fishman. We want to say battery. Backplate. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so a lot of money, but not as much money as routing a hole in your guitar you don't need. I just want to see how they're coupling it. Yeah, it totally can work. Go here. Let me go to it. This is it. You can get it in white. It's $109. This is just on Sweetwater. This is the unit. It just goes on like a backplate. It's got a USB charger. Look at that. You can charge it up with a USB cable in here. That's the coupling thing right here that you probably won't have the attachment on your EMGs, but hey, look, it's just the 3 wires and you'll just wire it up. It's probably, see, look at that. They got the coding. Oh no, that's just, they're just telling you the part numbers. But either way, it's going to be pretty straightforward on this. Red's hot. I'm guessing red's hot, white's ground, black's ground. That's my guess without getting into it. But you could wire this up, put it in your guitar, and run your EMGs off it. Other than you're gonna have a Fishman logo on it, it would totally work. No routing, and you're set to go. And like I said, it's just a battery. It's there is no way to make something like, oh no, the Fishman battery detected its competitor and won't work. It's gonna work fine. So I would do that. I mean, if you don't want to route a hole in your guitar, that's $100. Seems like it's well worth the expense in my thought process. Let me refresh this and go back to, okay. Wanna Beetle. Oh no. Wanna Beetles. We got a 50-50 shot. It's going to be a joke or it's going to be a question. Let's see. Philip McKnight, have you tried Comfort Strap before? It's supposed to put less stress on your back with the stretchy material. I tried an Ernie Ball version, absolutely hated it. I've not tried it. Strap companies reach out to me constantly. They're always like, hey, we want to send you this strap. We want to send you this strap. We want to send you this strap. As you guys know, I use the DiMarzio clip locks. I like the Diodario straps. I have no issues with it. I don't perform any more than 2 hours at a time. I haven't had to. I'm not in rehearsals there was one time I was in rehearsals for like 6-7 hours at a time, but that was very rare. That was right before COVID. So I don't have any issues with that. But more importantly, even when I'm playing bass, that's why I play light instruments. I don't have to worry about it. That's the best part about playing. Look, you don't have to have a light instrument. You just use a really comfort strap, like padded, whatever strap. I just use regular straps and just have light instruments. It works fine for me, but I haven't done it. And like I said, they are constantly, companies reaching out saying, hey, will you check out these straps? And I'm like, I like my straps I have now. Dougal Dog says, hey, good day. Phil, would a finish like gloss paint or lacquer tend to keep moisture in fast build guitar necks as opposed to more open raw finishes allowed to season? I think what you're getting at is like when they manufacture guitars really quickly overseas, like in Asia and stuff, and they make quick, we call them fast guitars because they're made really quickly. They wouldn't have lacquer finish, most likely. You're going to have polyurethane. Would the finish keep the moisture in? Yeah, it actually not only does it keep it in, it like seals it in like an M&M. So yeah, that's what happens. That's why when you pick up a guitar, sometimes it weighs 12 pounds. It's just full of water. And there's no way to get it out because they sealed it all in there. You'd have to sand all that finish off and let that wood dry over a good period of a year or so, 2 years. It gets sealed in there. Okay, hold on, I'm looking. All right, let's go up this way. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the comment sections. Really chapped lips today. It's driving me crazy. I was like, I told myself to get chapstick, and I didn't do it. Okay. Okay, anything else? I think we're done. Did we talk about everything? Let me look at my stuff. Hold on a second. Did I go over my questions? I did. All the stuff I had penned. We did the 2 giveaways. We did the guitar of the week. We talked about what's going on this week. Oh, here's a question. You know what? It's great because towards the end of the show, because this one came last week and I didn't answer it. It was, hey, Phil, was wondering which way to sponsor the show gives you the most. Should they do Super Chat or Patreon or other? Patreon pays me the most. I'm grandfathered in on Patreon. Okay, so you know, it'll eventually go away one day. But I started Patreon so long ago that they take a lower rate from me. Okay, I don't know what that is. I want to say it's 10%. I think they take 10% all in with fees and everything. But like I said, YouTube takes 40% on average. You know, 30 to 40 depending on, you know, like I said. So yeah, you get more money if you go to Patreon. But you know, like I said, I mean, these are all providing a system that it wouldn't, you know, if I didn't have this, I wouldn't be able to do any of this. So they're going to get their money. I don't worry about it that much. So I'm like, you know, you got to pay. You got to pay. That's what I'm saying. You got to pay. Okay, I think we did it. We talked about everything. I'm just double checking. Sometimes I'm also looking where the screens Amanda sends me. I got most all the ones Amanda sent me. So I think we did it. I always love it when we're on task. I think it was cool. Hopefully you guys like the new guitar of the week and the new format. I like doing a demo and then just talking about the guitar. Yeah. Okay, we're good. All right. As always, I want to thank you guys so much. We're going to be doing, the next video is going to be of my birthday guitar. So that's the next video. And then there's going to be a bunch of videos after that. I have like 7 videos that I'm supposed to get done. They're supposed to get done by the end of the month, which would mean one would have to come out every day. So that's not going to happen, but I'm going to try to parse them out as fast as I can. A lot of cool ones I think that some of you guys will really like. As always, I want to thank you guys for hanging out on a Friday. Thank you guys for the great questions and subjects. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I hope you play guitar. That's the key, right? And as always, thank you so much for your time. To the next time, know your gear.
Today's episode of the Know Your Gear podcast is brought to you by Patreon members, channel members, and viewers who like and subscribe. Thank you for making this possible. The Know Your Gear podcast.